Hello and welcome, everyone. Just like every day, you are all welcome today as well to the Indian Markets After Market Analysis session at 5 p.m. Here, we conduct the aftermarket analysis session for Nifty and Bank Nifty, where we observe and analyze. After the market closes, we see what kind of confirmation the order flow has given us today, where buyers were visible on the footprint, where sellers appeared, and how everything unfolded. If you are new, want to learn order flow, or want to learn how to use GoCharting properly, then you can join the daily live webinar at 5 p.m. in the evening. You will get the link for this live webinar on the GoCharting Discord and Telegram community before 5 p.m. Also, if you are using GoCharting at that particular time, you will see webinar written in the notifications at the top right corner, and by clicking on it, you can access the link. So now, let's look at the Nifty levels to see how, where, and what kind of confirmation Nifty gave us. Alright, regarding the volume profile. If I remove today's market, okay, then let's take confirmation from the volume profile to see where and how it gave us confirmation. Okay, so yesterday's market was completely sideways. Nothing much happened in yesterday's market, so the levels remained the same as the day before. A low was made. We took the entire range that Nifty had created. We only considered this entire range. Yesterday was very sideways, okay, only this movement was there. So, at the very bottom, this entire right side volume profile that has formed, if you just look at this right side volume profile, it represents the whole range. Okay, this is its VPOC zone. We had marked this VPOC zone. Then, if it goes towards the upside, there is a big volume node here. Okay, this is its VPOC zone. This is the value area. That's done. If it stays on the downside, then there was also a volume profile node on the lower side. If it breaks further on the upside, then this volume node is going to work as a resistance. Okay. We didn't take yesterday's VPOC zone because just above it there was a very important VPOC zone, which was the VPOC zone for the entire range. So this was the better option we had. Okay, so we marked this option. Okay, so these were the simple confirmations of the volume profile using just 4 levels. Now, based on these same volume profile confirmations, let's see what confirmation the order flow has given. Where did the buyers come in? Where did the sellers come in? Okay. You can pause the video here and check the volume profile settings, alright, and you can match your settings accordingly. Okay. And these are the footprint settings for the tick size. Okay. A tick size of around 80 works well here when the movement is normal. Okay, and when there is more movement, you can even use 100. Now, to read the footprint properly, you should know this. What is delta? Because with the help of delta, we read the footprint here every day. Okay. Now, what is this delta? In simple language, delta tells us the difference between buyers and sellers. How? For example, let's pick the first candle. These are the footprints of the first candle. On this, on the right side are buyers, on the left side are sellers, and we take the total of the buyers. Let's assume any value just to understand, say 1 lakh plus 1 lakh, and then we total the sellers. Okay, here also, let's take any value. Suppose 1,54,000. Okay. So, if I subtract one from the other, what do I get? I have more sellers. How many more? 54,000. So here also, delta has shown us the difference. Now, because there are more sellers, our value is inside the red box and there's a negative sign. We also call this negative delta. Negative delta equals sellers, just like this candle. In this candle, there are more buyers because the value is inside the green box and there is no sign of any negative. So that means it's a positive delta. Positive delta is equal to buyers, just like how we saw the difference between buyers and sellers in this candle. Similarly, in the difference between these two as well, there were more buyers inside. Okay, so we call that positive delta. Now, negative delta means there are more sellers inside that candle. Bias. Positive delta means there are more buyers inside that candle. Now, you are seeing delta in two ways. Some candles have very large values and some candles have. Look at this. Only 1000, only 525, only 11,000, only 3000 and so on. So, the candles whose delta value is very high. Okay, like this one, this one. In those candles, there has been more buying and selling, and in the candles where the delta value is very low, the buying and selling hasn't been that solid. So, what is the better option for us? To read the footprint of those candles. The candles in which there has been heavy buying and selling, that's where the big players are also present, and those are the candles that clearly indicate the market direction. So, what will we do here? We will read those candles. The candles which have a significant delta. A delta ranging from 30 to above 30,000, whether it is on the positive side or the negative side. Now, what happens in the case of the first candle is that you always see higher volume in the first candle, but many times the order flow does not work in that direction because those who have overnight positions for the day also square off their positions within the first candle. So, this was the most important zone of the entire session. We had a complete consolidation zone formed, and this was its opposite zone, okay. So in this, what exactly happened inside the first candle? How will we read the footprint now? With the help of delta. What did the delta indicate? There are quite a lot of sellers. What did the delta indicate? Inside this candle, there are more sellers. Which side is the seller's side? The left side. The seller's side moved, and we saw the zone where the maximum selling took place. Look at this at 39, 35, and 34. Okay. So, inside that first candle, this is the spot where the most selling happened. Now, did the next candle break its low? No, it didn't. Which side did the market go? It went upwards. See, this candle gave some confirmation that yes, the high of this candle has properly broken the high of the previous candle. But what actually happened inside the first candle? There was selling, and in the next few candles, the market moved upwards. So that means whatever selling happened here, all of it got absorbed here. The next candle is neutral. There is no specific buying or selling. The candle after that gave us a solid confirmation. What confirmation did it give? Just look at this. In the next two candles, the third and fourth candles of Nifty, there was quite heavy buying in these candles and the price continued to move upwards. It means we did not see any scenario where there was selling, but the market did not break that selling zone on the downside. We saw quite a good amount of buying. The price continued to move up quite well. Okay, so what can we do from here now? Firstly, Nifty has broken this level. Alright, so let's delete these levels as well. And now, let's take confirmation from the order flow to see where the buyers are in the order flow. See, as it breaks through these levels. Buying of 124, buying of 122, where is the highest buying? In these two candles, one here, the other at 54, 69, 59, meaning when the market moved up, this was the zone where aggressive buyers started stepping in. After that, it continued on the buying side. There was nothing on the selling side. There was selling at 142, but still, we got a stronger confirmation here. 1. There was selling at 46, but the very next candle broke that selling zone. The market moved upwards. It held up well. It held perfectly at that very zone. Look, this is selling. Just a bit of light selling. There's no major selling here. The volume is normal. We got a positive delta. Of which candle? Of this candle. So this is the candle where you can safely say that the buyer's zone held. There were some sellers. Now, all the sellers in this candle have moved here. Okay. We saw an upward movement. It's quite good up to the resistance, but in this upward movement, we noticed one more thing. What was that? It was this candle, the 1125 candle. In this candle, we saw quite a significant amount of specific buying, and where was the most buying? A buying attempt was made above the resistance, and then the market reversed. We got a slight indication here of buying absorption. But what was the problem with this buying absorption? Just look here. This is a spot where there are quite a few buyers, okay. Until the market breaks this level, the playing range is very limited. There is very little playing range. Okay, the risk is high. The playing range is low. Again, the seller came to the same buying zone. There is no one anywhere. There are no sellers anywhere. Either it would have been that there was aggressive buying and then sellers entered. Then we could think that yes, now sellers have come in, so maybe this zone could break. But there are no sellers anywhere. We can say that buyers had made an attempt to break this resistance, but still, the buying zone below is pending, which is acting as a strong support. Again it came, and this time we saw the biggest buying in Nifty today. The biggest buying was a positive delta of around 300, and here, buying of about 125, meaning again, just like in Nifty, we saw buying within one candle, two candles, and these three candles. Here too, we saw back-to-back buying within the same four candles. First candle, second candle, third candle, and fourth, wait a minute, which is the biggest buying zone of the first candle? See, there is quite a good amount of buying as it breaks the resistance. Which is the biggest buying zone? If I do this, if I adjust it a bit like this, then we will be able to see it perfectly. The resistance has been broken. Let's break it as well. The highest buying was at 87,000 and another at 1,15,000. The buying kept continuing, okay, and this was the buying where, see this now. What was the biggest order? A buying of 1,15,000. Someone specifically bought at this price. A buying of 1,31,000 happened, and then the price reversed. Meaning, this is the place where the market found a bit of resistance. Again, which was the bullish zone we had, where the maximum buying happened, this one, and the very first buying zone is always the most important. The most important, okay. Here also, there was a buying of 1,23,000. Continue. But the very first one is always the most important. It came down to the pullback. It held quite well for some time, but still, it couldn't hold perfectly. Meaning, the buyers who bought within this candle in the market. Okay, during the pullback, it did hold for a while. Quite well. Okay, the market got stuck here for about 20 minutes. But unfortunately, sellers came in and broke this zone. Now, since the market has also broken this zone, let's delete it as well. Okay, because this was a buying zone for buyers, this zone should have held as support, but since the market has broken it, we'll delete it as well. There was quite a bit of selling in this candle. But again, for us, the most significant selling was at 90k, then selling at this one, 55k, selling at 38k, and selling at 60k. Right now, This selling hasn't broken out properly either to the upside or the downside. Which side did it break? Right now, it broke to the downside, the first zone at 100. Even if we thought about some selling from here, again, the range for us to play was very limited. Okay, when the sellers broke the buyer's zone here, the market did go down, but on the pullback, the playing range wasn't that big. This was today's quick analysis of Nifty. If we look again at what happened, the first candle showed selling absorption. The second candle had solid buyers, and there was quite a bit of buying activity at the center. There was a big buying on the pullback. The market got stuck exactly where the buying had happened. In an upside movement, there was a slight buying absorption visible. Again, there was a pullback. From exactly the same zone, the biggest buying was seen during the upside movement. This was the buying zone where the largest buying took place, and it was the first buying zone because the first buying happened from here to here. Here, during the pullback, it held quite well for 20 to 30 minutes, but it was not as successful in giving that much of an upside movement. It did hold, but unfortunately, the sellers broke it. After that selling, this was the buying zone we had. It gave an upside movement towards us again. This was today's quick analysis of Nifty. Now, whatever questions you all have, please unmute yourself and ask.